Welcome to How to Prevent HR Burnout Part 1. So if you are an HR professional and you've experienced HR burnout, then it's my guess that you do not want to get back to that place anytime soon. But you might be wondering, what is the solution? How do you prevent yourself, and maybe how do you prevent your whole HR team from reaching the point of burnout in the first place? And maybe you've already tried a number of different avenues. Perhaps you've done insights training, mental health awareness training, stress management training, resilience training. Maybe you've invested in mindfulness or meditation apps. Maybe you've made a commitment to get back onto your yoga mat a bit more often. And yet, something is still off. And you're starting to experience those signs of burnout creeping back in. My name is Sara Maude, and I am the founder of the Mind Solution International. I am a former HR leader, and I wish that I had known what I'm going to share with you in this 4-part series on how to prevent HR burnout. I have spent the last 13 years holding in the region of 10,000 one-to-one sessions where I have deep dived into the human psyche to understand what does it take to create lasting, true transformation. And I am sharing that with you in this 4-part series so that together we can create a whole new paradigm in HR. So let's dive in. Part 1, the outside-in misunderstanding. So, in order to prevent HR burnout, we need to understand what is actually creating your experience moment to moment to moment. And the vast majority of people are going about their day under the illusion that the way that they feel is coming from somewhere in their external environment. And the reason for this is because if we experience an emotion, especially if that emotion is an intense emotion, maybe it's an emotion that takes us by surprise, maybe there's some shock factor in what we're experiencing in the moment, then the brain looks to the outside world, the external environment, and it looks for cause and effect. And so it says, okay, the way that I feel is because of that. So let's take something really simple, which I think we can probably all relate to, is receiving an email. Like, how many of us have received an email and we've read this email and we've had quite an intense emotional reaction to that? And that intense emotional reaction can be one of anger, it can be one of frustration, it can be one of impatience. Maybe there's thoughts coming in thick and fast, like how dare they say that in the email? They haven't even answered my question. There's all this kind of drama going on, which we think is coming from the email. Equally, we can receive an email and it's like, finally, this is exactly what I was looking for. Maybe that email for us contains good news. Maybe it's letting us know that we've got a new job, a promotion, any number of things. So the email looks like it is the source of your emotions. Because what your brain has done is you've experienced feeling something and the brain has associated it with the email. And it looks like that because of something called consciousness. So in that moment, it absolutely looks like the true source of the way that you feel is coming from that email. It's not. Everything that you are experiencing moment to moment to moment is internally generated based on the perceptual map and model that you carry around inside your neurophysiology. And what that means is that our reactions are based on the totality of all of our experiences. It's just that your brain's created a pattern match and it looks like it's coming from the email, but instead, because the brain is a record of the past, it's pattern matched back to some other experience, some other memory, something you won't be conscious of. And bang, we're back in the feeling. Now, the problem with this is that when it comes to our emotions, and thinking about this in the context of HR burnout, we're experiencing, feeling all of these emotions, and it looks like the way that we feel is coming from the job, is coming from a meeting, is coming from a situation, especially in HR, because we don't always know what we're going to get faced with when we're working in HR. And that is one of the unique things about working in HR. It's like you never quite know what's going to come through the door. And so we find ourselves responding to things which can seem like it's a crisis moment. I've lost count of the amount of HR people that have just said, I just feel like I'm always in firefighting mode. And it seems like the way that they feel is coming from that situation, because the brain makes it look like that. And so the brain's creating all of these faulty pattern matches, these associations. Your brain is an association machine. And if we don't know what's really creating our experience, then it can feel to us in the moment that we are powerless. It can feel to us that we are not in control, that the way that we feel is dependent on something outside of us. So take another example that I know so many people have experienced, is being in a meeting room. And maybe something's happened in that meeting where maybe somebody has started to talk over you. That really is. Oh! Or somebody has just looked at you in a way that your brain has made that mean something. Or maybe there is somebody that's being perhaps quite passive aggressive in the meeting. But in that moment, we're having a response to that situation. We are having a response, and it looks like the response is based on what's happening in the meeting. But as I said, the brain is a record of the past. But when we can understand what is creating our response in the moment, that it's not coming from these individuals. I mean, it might be that they are actually behaving in a way that's not great, but our reaction, our inner reaction, is coming from the totality of our experiences. It's coming from what we are making that mean in the moment, often unconsciously. So the more that we start to see, the more that we raise our levels of awareness, the more that we understand the human psyche, we understand cause and effect, we're able to start to see through the illusion of why I feel the way that I feel. And that is a huge part for me of mastery and self-realization, is understanding what is creating my experience. And when we can start to bring into the light a new level of awareness of not only what's creating my experience, but the patterns of thought that are being activated, that are creating these experiences, well then we're cooking on gas. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about self-awareness and consciousness and why that is the next step to preventing HR burnout.